what if I choose not to decide?
You're still deciding.
Moving forward with the Dekker Team. Moving forward together with the Dekker Team.
And so we're thrilled that we've been able to welcome you to another episode of Life's Inside Track. I'm Yetta Dekker.
And I'm Ken Dekker.
And it's where we get to share techniques, thoughts, tips, tools, tactics, and some truths that we all need. We all deserve. You, I, everyone. So we can turn our house into home and our families thrive and we live the best life possible. We're going to consider that even inside the real estate industry, the relationship's about to change. We've alluded to it in other episodes, and now we're going to give you what there is to know.
Yeah, a quick summary, basically.
Let's see if we can do this without creating additional confusion or chaos.
Yeah, so phase 2 of TRESA, they call it TRESA 2002,
right,
is coming out. It's replacing, or it has replaced, REBA, Real Estate Business Brokers Act, to 2002. Why they didn't update it to 2021 or 2022?
Or 2023, because it's not coming into effect until December 1st.
Yeah, phase 2.
Phase 2.
And there'll be a phase 3 as well. So phase 1 already came in. That made most changes for real estate practitioners.
Right.
Like
so
what
people,
we could call ourselves, and that we could have a personal corporation and stuff like that. The next phase 2 is affecting you, the consumer, in significant ways. I mean, the last time the industry was turned a little bit upside down on its head was 1994 when I joined into real estate.
That's why it turned upside down,
No, it
right?
wasn't.
Because he came into the industry?
No.
Okay.
It was because they introduced buyer representation. And prior to that, every agent worked for the seller. And even if you shopped around, with Yetta for 6 months looking for a house and you were referred by your parents to her, and then when you found the right house you wanted to put an offer in, suddenly Yetta had to change hats and she was no longer working for you. She was working for the seller as a sub-agent.
And
that was prior to 1994.
Right. And that was all real estate agents in residential real estate sales in the province of Ontario.
Yeah.
Everyone represented the seller, and it was through a sub-agency contract that existed between agents.
Yeah.
Right. And so buyers, the confusion was, and the reason it came in, that things changed in 94, was that buyers, for the most part, didn't understand it. And here we are basically 20 years later.
Changing it again.
And most people still don't understand it. No, but it's true. There's a lot of confusion.
Yeah, exactly. And so to really understand TRESA 2002, and TRESA stands for Trust in Real Estate Act. So it's a law, right? And acts are laws that are put in by the government. And they're changing the way we can work with real estate. So when Buyer Rep came out, they also had this thing called customer service. Customer service meant you could help somebody, give them information as a realtor. You could help somebody as a realtor and give them information. And you weren't representing their best interests. You still had to be ethical and honest and answer questions properly. And what they've said is now we're going to get rid of customer service. Buyer rep's still there.
So when Ken's saying buyer rep, what he's saying is buyer representation.
Yeah.
So, or what we have come to call within our industry, you were a client, meaning we owed you working in your best interest, protecting you, fiduciary responsibilities, advising, coaching, counseling, deciding what information you would need, providing it to you, knowing what we know in our industry, and being proactive in giving you everything that we could possibly think you would want to know, even if you didn't ask for it. That was client or buyer representation. That's not going anywhere.
That still exists.
That's, for the most part, what is still going to be the forerunner.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, it's becoming more important.
Right.
Because they've taken away customer and they've replaced that with self-represented. Now, you might think, oh, they just changed the name. That's what I first thought. Oh, they changed it from customer to self-represented.
Right.
But no. It's like you going into a court of law and you're going to go in there self-represented. You're not getting a lawyer to represent you, and you're going to fight your case against another skilled lawyer who knows the laws in and out, and there's a judge adjudicating. You're going to be self-represented. So that's your choice now, is you can be self-represented or you can be represented by a real estate agent.
And this is not going to come into place. Like we're in
December
September
1st. Yeah.
right now. We've decided we want to give you the goods as much as we have the goods. And Ken, being the president of the Ottawa Real Estate Board and sitting on the task forces both for federal and provincial real estate, means he's kind of at the forefront, getting the news, getting the information as it's coming out. So you have a couple of months now to prepare, because nothing's changing until after November 30th. Right now, you could still choose to be a customer, which just means we still owe you our code of ethics. We still have to treat you ethically and fairly. We just are not working on your behalf, not in your best interest as a customer. So the words customer and client, I think it's too bad they both start with C. And for most people in any other industry, they would sound like the same thing. That's what I think. I think that's why there's been so much confusion for the last 19 years, because the thing everybody says to me is, what's the difference between a customer and a client anyway? Aren't they the same?
Right. So
No.
So this is creating more clarity with the wording and what can be done. So RECO, which is the Real Estate Council of Ontario, that's our governing body. They are creating a 12-page disclosure manual, basically, on explaining agency and what your rights are and all that kind of stuff under TRESA 2002. Now, if you want a copy of that, email us at together@Dekker Team and just say
together@dekkerteam.com.
yes, thank you. Just say guide. And we'll, when it's available, it's not out yet, we will send a copy to you.
And we're going to do more shows on this, because although it's dry, it's the only way to provide you so you can make a wise choice in your real estate relationship.
So
if you don't understand it, you can't do it. I know we both have so much to say. We're so excited we're cutting you off, and yet it's a dry subject. That's fascinating.
Is really practical. How it's going to affect the buyer is that in the past, if you called, say, on my property that we have listed for sale, we could say, oh yeah, there's 3 or other in the neighborhood. Would you like me to show those to you as well? As a customer, I could do that. I could show other people's listings. Under new TRESA 2002, I cannot show a self-represented person. If you're self-represented, I can only show you my listing in my company. I cannot show you any other listings by any other companies, unless you sign buyer representation. And now I'm representing you. Now I can do everything for you.
Right. So this is a big deal, actually. If you're a buyer, if you're a seller, this part of it isn't going to feel that different.
Right.
But hang on, there's more.
Yeah, there's lots of changes. And we're going to cover those in the next segment. So when you're asked to sign a buyer representation, or to go self-represented, what do you think you will choose? And we're glad that we can position you to build wealth wisely, because it's about much more than just money.
Moving forward with the Dekker Team. Moving forward.